You ever been in a high-pressure situation where your brain just checks out? You know exactly what you're supposed to do, but for some reason, you do the complete opposite. Well, today, we're going to dive into the really weird science behind why our brains lock up like that, and, more importantly, how to break free when it really counts.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a terrifyingly common example. Picture this. You're driving, and suddenly a car swerves right into your lane. Now, your goal is obviously that big empty space, the escape route, right? But you find your eyes are just glued to the other car, and then you feel your hands start to follow. It's a phenomenon known as target fixation, and believe me, it reveals a fundamental and pretty scary glitch in our brain's operating system. So what exactly is this glitch? Well, for our purposes, we're going to call it the villain of our story, the locked up brain. This is the root cause of that freeze response, that intense tunnel vision, that feeling of being completely stuck when you most need to be quick and flexible. It causes your brain to shut down your most flexible behavior, slowing down your body and sending messages to your body you don't need, like numbing and pain in your hands. But if you understand what's happening, you can use this glitch to your benefit. Now, the official term for this is cognitive lockup. It's what happens when your brain gets so hyper-focused on one single thing, like don't hit that car, that it literally starts to ignore everything else around you. Your situational awareness just evaporates, and you get stuck in this really dangerous mental loop. And target fixation is probably the most dramatic example of this. You know, the term actually comes from World War II. Pilots would get so locked onto their targets during an attack run that they would literally fly straight into them. It's because under stress, our hands have this unnerving, unconscious tendency to follow our eyes, steering us directly into the very hazard we are desperately trying to avoid. So to figure out how to beat this thing, we've got to understand what's actually going on inside our heads. And it turns out this lockup is the result of a battle for control between two totally different attention systems that are always running in your brain. Think of it like this. You've got a deliberate planner and you've got a reactive alarm. Your top-down system, that's the planner. It's like a spotlight that you consciously point at your goals. You know, I need to merge onto the highway. But your bottom-up system is the alarm. It's more like a motion detector, constantly and automatically scanning for anything new, unexpected, or potentially dangerous. Now, what's so fascinating on the slide is the speed. Just look at that deployment speed. Your automatic alarm, that bottom-up system, it is lightning fast, firing in about 100 milliseconds. But your conscious planner, the top-down system, is almost 3 times slower. So cognitive lockup happens when that slow, deliberate system gets so obsessed with its goal that it actually starts to ignore the signals from the much faster alarm system. You literally become blind to critical new information. So if our brain gets stuck in this stubborn top-down loop, how in the world do we break out of it? Well, the answer is to intentionally trigger our brain's own built-in reset button. And the technique is called the pattern interrupt. This whole technique works because it hijacks a really ancient, primitive brain mechanism called the orienting reflex. This is your brain's immediate, totally automatic response to anything new or surprising. It's like a neural circuit breaker that forces your attention to shift, whether you want it to or not. And the key word here, the most important word, is unexpected. Your brain has to be surprised for this to kick in. So a pattern interrupt is just a deliberate, unexpected action you take to trigger that reflex on purpose. It's designed to jolt your unconscious mind right out of its rut. The source material uses this fantastic analogy. It swipes the legs out from under a bad habit, forcing a mental pause where you can finally choose a new, better response. Okay, this is where it gets really practical. The theory is cool, but now that we get the what and the why, let's actually build our toolkit. We're going to look at 3 really powerful techniques you can start using to interrupt that cognitive lock and take back control. The first tool is one you can use literally the next time you get in your car: commentary driving. And it's as simple as it sounds. You just narrate your actions and what you're seeing out loud. Okay, checking my mirror. Cars approaching on the left. I'm easing off the gas now. The simple act of speaking forces your thought process into the open, keeping you grounded in the here and now. And this isn't just some silly trick. As this quote points out, it's a really powerful way to offload your thought burden. By turning those internal panic thoughts into external speech, you engage more of your brain and you prevent it from just zoning out or spiraling. It's especially useful for learners or really anyone who feels overwhelmed. Next up, using our other senses. This chart illustrates something so important about how our brain works under pressure.
When you're in that state of tunnel vision, your eyes and your ears are already totally maxed out. They're saturated. So the fastest way to break through that noise is through touch, or what's called haptic feedback. A simple vibration in your seat is the quickest way to trigger that orienting reflex and snap you out of it. And you can apply this anywhere. A vibrating alarm on your phone can be a great way to break your focus lock when you're deep in work.
And finally, we've got this brilliantly simple system that comes from Japanese railway workers. It's called shisa kanko, or point and call. So instead of just glancing at a signal, you physically point at it. You call out its status, signal is green, and then you act. This simple three-step process forces you to engage your brain, your eyes, your hands, your mouth, and your ears all at once, making it pretty much impossible to just run on autopilot.
And you might be wondering, does that little ritual actually work? Well, get this. Studies have shown this method can reduce errors by up to 85%. That is a staggering improvement. It just proves that a simple physical routine can totally defeat the brain's dangerous tendency to get locked into a mindless routine. So these tools we've been talking about, they aren't just for escaping danger in the moment. They're actually about something much, much bigger. Fundamentally rewiring your brain to go from being a complete novice to becoming an expert. You see, when you're a novice at pretty much anything, you're stuck in what's called serial processing. Your brain can only handle one thing at a time, which creates this massive mental bottleneck. The goal of all practice is to get to parallel processing, where skills become so automatic and so fluid that you can do multiple things at once without even thinking about it. And this table here lays out that journey perfectly. You start in the super high effort cognitive phase, you move through the middle associative phase, and you finally, hopefully, reach that low effort fluid autonomous phase. And here's the secret sauce. The tools we just discussed, those pattern interrupts, they are the key to accelerating this journey. By deliberately breaking your conscious brain's tendency to get stuck and overmanage everything, you create the mental space for the unconscious parts of your brain to do their magic, turning clumsy effort into fluid automatic. So as you can see, these techniques go way beyond just driving. They are tools for learning, for focus, and for mastering any complex skill where your brain might just get in its own way. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you know how to break your brain's focus lock, what complex skill will you master next?